Missing penalties, confidence rock bottom, and even getting booed by his fans.
Headlines on Ancelotti, Vinicius not moaning about the Ballon d'Or, it's gone. Kylian Mbappé was once again, and I'm being kind, anonymous.
For months, it was almost as if the Kylian Mbappé we'd known for years disappeared. And then, just like that, boom, he's back.
Here's a mistake by Fran Beltrán, the interception by Camavinga, and if you give
He's banging goals, lining up well with his teammates, and making the headlines for the right reasons, and now becoming the main guy for the biggest team in European football. What changed him then? Where did the poor form come from? And how has he managed to beat that? We'll get into all of that shortly, but first, hit that subscribe button below to Kicks with Seb to get the latest updates about video releases just like this. Kylian Mbappé to Real Madrid was huge. It dominated the summer headlines.
Has finally happened. It is officially official. Kylian Mbappé has signed with Real Madrid.
He was finally a Real Madrid player, despite coming close to joining the club on two separate occasions. With Mbappé, signing for Real Madrid was destiny.
Quería saber qué significa para ti Cristiano Ronaldo, si mantienes algún contacto con él, si él te ha dado algún consejo o si tú le has pedido algún consejo y si te ha inspirado en él para el 1, 2, 3 a la Madrid, porque él hizo lo mismo el día de su presentación.
Es un guiño a Cristiano, siempre mi ídolo de niño, como he dicho tengo la suerte ahora, es un...
He openly stated just how much he considered Cristiano Ronaldo as an idol, his idol. Still a young kid back then, Mbappé began making waves in the game at young levels, and by the time he made his first team debut at Monaco, the rest of Europe was witnessing a sensation on the rise. The records kept tumbling. Mbappé was scoring in big games against teams like Manchester United and Juventus in the Champions League. And once the news about this talented teenager spread, the rumors about a potential move for the kid started heating up. He started in the 2018 World Cup, helping France go all the way, scoring in the final and winning the Best Young Player of the Tournament award. Mbappé has now established himself as the best young player on the planet, and as it is Madrid's policy, they went full on to make him a Galactico. It didn't work. Didn't the second time either. Mbappé signed a 3-year contract extension with PSG, but in reality, it was only delaying destiny, because in the summer of 2024, after his contract at PSG was up, Mbappé signed for Los Blancos. The expectations went up the roof. So many believed that Mbappé joining Real Madrid was the final step toward him becoming the future of football, that the future was now, that Mbappé at Real Madrid would dominate the game, and finally, Mbappé would become what he'd been destined to be, the next Ronaldo. It didn't quite turn out like that. He scored on his debut for Madrid in the Super Cup win versus Atalanta, but in the context of La Liga, Mbappé was shockingly blank.
Done nothing, has he? Done nothing really in his 3 league games, Kylian Mbappé. Because he's not even close to the standards that those players set at this level. They did it year in, year out, and when they dropped their level even just a little bit and the team struggled, they got it. And I'm interested, it's going to be so interesting if he doesn't turn it around. If this crowd turn early on him, I'm not suggesting they will, but they've done it.
3 La Liga games, no goals, below par performance, and suddenly, from being the most talked about transfer of the summer, only about a month later, Mbappé was feeling the heat. He finally got his first 2 goals for the club in the competition, but it was almost as if it was handed to him. One of them was from the penalty spot, and in the following weeks, it became a theme for him. The goals weren't coming as often as they were projected to, and when he did score, it was either off tap-ins or from a penalty. Mbappé wasn't impressive, and everyone could see he needed to do more.
Few years back, and people is gonna remember that moment. Once you arrive here, if you don't deliver what is expected from you, the criticism will start. They're gonna give you a period, everybody's talking and trying to be understandable. You arrive to a different club, it's a big spotlight on you because of course you create
The fans hadn't forgotten. Mbappe might have become the golden boy for the team, but he was also the same guy who openly rejected the club twice, and now the performances weren't adding up. It was only a matter of time the fans chanting his name would potentially turn on him. You see guys, there were reasons for this. It's not as if Mbappe had decided to just switch off for his new team. A lot of factors contributed to him being unable to hit the ground running as we would have expected him to. The first one is positioning. Part of what made Mbappe such an important player over the years was the pace he had, and the ability to match this with well-timed runs into the opposition's half. Once he got free, there was no stopping him. All of that though had mysteriously disappeared because at Real Madrid, Mbappe couldn't seem to replicate it. His first El Clasico in colours for his new team was embarrassing by his standards. He got caught offside 8 times. 8 times for a player like Mbappe. The alarm bell started ringing.
It's basic striker movement. It's basic movement ahead of the ball that is not happening from Kylian Mbappe.
But he's not a teenager. 8 times offside in the Clasico was embarrassing, and our colleague Mark Ogden wrote an article, we discussed it last week, about maybe we should be, not we, but as a general rule of thumb, analyst pundits should be a little easier on Kylian Mbappe. No!
Pundits were eating on him. He'd become a hot topic every week, and even his rivals too. Now, it wasn't just the timing of his runs. When Mbappe did manage to time his runs perfectly, which in these early weeks were few, finding the back of the net became an issue. Misses like this, no matter the situation, didn't help the cause. Mbappe had hit a dump on the road, but soon it got worse. At Anfield versus Liverpool, he missed a penalty and was on the receiving end of a tackle that ended up getting him memed. But the real low point of Mbappe's season came against Athletic Bilbao in the league just days after his penalty miss versus Liverpool. Mbappe hits another wrong note again. And this, guys, was his rock bottom.
Most people are looking at it and interpreting it as, this is a guy that, despite the fact it's Kylian Mbappé, despite the fact that it's someone who scored in 2 World Cup finals, that scored a hat-trick in the last World Cup final, this is a guy who at the moment appears to be really feeling the pressure. And
Mbappe was down. Question about his mental health started popping up. There were even reports about him drinking. But Mbappe himself came out to put a message that suggested a turnaround was just around the corner. I'll tell you what the message is in a couple of seconds, but just in case you missed it earlier, hit that subscribe button to Kicks with Seb down below. Mbappe's message on Instagram? It was time for him to show who he was. And boy, did he turn it around. Since the last penalty miss versus Bilbao, Mbappe notched up 8 goal contributions, 6 games. Sounds decent, but when you factor in the other competitions he's played for Madrid, the goal count goes up to 4. It's not even just about the goals now, it's the type of goals and how they're coming. The Kylian Mbappe we've known for so long at PSG and France is back, with excellent finishes, instinctive ones, sharp turns, getting involved more in the play, pressing hard for his team, and becoming a goal threat every time he gets on the ball. Kylian Mbappe has rediscovered his goal-scoring touch. And the big question has to be, how? Notice how to this point, I'm yet to talk about the new coach he's playing under at Real Madrid, Carlo Ancelotti. And that's because at the beginning, it didn't seem like Ancelotti had a proper plan for where to play Mbappe.
Everybody knows that Kylian likes to play on the left as well. Where do you see him fitting in the team?
I see him play in front, and the attack is quite wide. The pitch is 68 meters.
Yeah.
And we have to cover this 68 meters with the players in front. That can be Vinicius. Because if I ask you where Vinicius played last season, it's difficult to say. He didn't play left winger. I think that the important key to have a good attacking play is the mobility of the players. So sometimes you can play on the left, sometimes you can play in the middle. Bellingham sometimes played on the left, Sometimes played in the middle, sometimes went to the right. Rodrigo started most of the game on the right, but sometime during the game I saw him playing on the left.
You like what is happening?
I think it's important, the mobility and the creativity of the...
When asked about it, his response was that Mbappe could play anywhere in the front line. This greatly imbalanced the team, but since that point on, Ancelotti has fixed this with a tactical tweak that is getting the best out of the Frenchman.
Kylian está jugando muy bien, en esto ha sido muy peligroso, no ha marcado goles, es verdad, pero ha sido siempre muy peligroso, se ha movido muy bien enfrente. No hay problema de adaptación con Mbappé, el trabajo defensivo es un trabajo que, como he dicho, tiene que ser un poco más colectivo. Obviamente los delanteros son menos involucrados que otros en el trabajo. In este sentido.
How does this connect Mbappe then? It's simple. The problem with Real Madrid this season has been the distance between the attack and the defense, the midfield that is. They lacked the balance to dictate the tempo in that area of the pitch. Ancelotti sorted this out by creating a tempo to how Madrid played. By using Federico Valverde and Dani Ceballos as the base midfielders, for example, it's a combination of tireless energy from Valverde and the composure on the ball from Ceballos. This, in turn, frees up Jude Bellingham and allows him to play closer to Kylian Mbappe up front. And when these two link up, we've shown it can be to devastating effect. The goal against Valladolid is an example. Mbappe picks up the return pass from Bellingham and slots home for a proper finish. The thing is, right now, with the way the Madrid team plays, the same way Mbappe had to adapt to them is the same way they've had to adapt to him.
It's been like any kind of adaptation to a team. Players have left, great players have joined, and you know it changes the dynamic slightly of how maybe we want to play or the formations we'll be playing, and the positions of certain players I've always shown that I can play them all.
They've come to terms that Mbappe isn't a traditional number 9. He's not going to get physical with the centre-backs or hold play meters away from the goal like the likes of Joselu and Karim Benzema did. Instead, they've come to understand that Mbappe's biggest assets are his speed and his positioning. And now we're seeing them use it and use him to full effect. Most recently, Mbappe picked up the top honours in January, the La Liga Player of the Month award, after he had an impressive December. The manager has tweaked the formation and the team is playing well. But ultimately, the biggest reason why Mbappe has transformed his fortunes at Real Madrid is down to the player himself. Let's face facts. We're revisiting this because not many players would have the courage to do this. He just missed back-to-back penalties in 2 big games for a team like Real Madrid. Most players would hide under that and just shrink even further. But in that moment, Mbappe understood the situation. Playing for Real Madrid is a privilege very few players in the world can talk about. And he's not just playing for Real Madrid, but he's supposed to be a star for the team too. See guys, Mbappe realized that he had to up his game. Nothing less than 100% every match day from that point on was going to cut it. And since then, we've been witnessing the rebirth of Kylian Mbappe. Even the pundits, the same ones who were criticizing him, know it too.
Mbappe's problem was confidence. I think he'd lost a bit of the confidence because of the expectation. He's scoring goals, he's looking more confident again.
For all the bad talk about him, Kylian Mbappe is just 3 goals off Robert Lewandowski in the race for La Liga's Golden Boot award, having played a game less. Mbappe is back, his confidence is back, he's flying, and so are the rest of his teammates. Now, there's been an argument that the only reason Mbappe is playing this good of late is because another one of his teammates has been out injured.
Not really.
No?
No, I don't think so. What, that they can't play together? Are you throwing that out there?
Well, that seems to be the logical 2 + 2 = 4, isn't it?
Is it?
And to this end, this claim is rubbish.
28 goles entre los dos en poquitos meses. Imaginaos los que podéis marcar juntos en este Real Madrid durante muchos años.
Pero podemos hacer más. Y vamos a hacer. Y le va a marcar mucho más, tranquilo.
You can see the chemistry between them when they both play. Vinicius Jr. wants Kylian Mbappe to do just as well for the team, in the same way Kylian Mbappe wants Vinicius Jr. to do well for the team. It's vice versa. If he continues in the same vein, Mbappe will only get better. Think about Real Madrid legends like Cristiano Ronaldo, for example. He too had to endure a difficult start to life at Real Madrid, and look how he turned out. What do you guys think of Kylian Mbappe so far at Real Madrid? Too early to call him a success or a bang average? Does he have a long-term future at the club? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget forget to subscribe to Kicks with Seb for more.